I'm Marsha Pels. I'm a sculptor. I live in Brooklyn, New York. And my show at Murmurs is Terranova Redux.
Terranova was a very important piece to me for a number of reasons. I made it 93 to 95 when I was brought out to the University of Iowa in Iowa City to run the sculpture department in the graduate program. So I was teaching there, and I went out exactly when the great floods of 93 happened and all the rivers converged. So I drove from New York to Iowa City in this insane landscape and passed, people on top of their houses, people floating on mattresses, guys from helicopters throwing bread down to people. And this piece is about that experience, really. I mean, I had a miscarriage. I made 2 babies. And then the neon started as a lightning bolt, and then it became an umbilical cord. The whole thing was stored in my studio here. And the studio has huge leaks. So just like in Iowa, I was flooded. The water poured down on the parachutes. It's new because it's in a different place and contextualized, therefore different. And I'm not going to restore them. I'm going to go with what happened to them.
It wasn't about death. It was really about resurrection. It was like the babies were still alive. They were connected. They were electrified. And the parachutes are always devices of rescue. And they were there to rescue the babies. They were there to rescue anything on the ground. And that's the sensation I wanted to create. That sensation of suspension and resurrection and dying but not dying.
Most of the time, I find the object, and the concept comes out of thinking about that thing or those things. I saw those real objects, and then I was inspired to make something about them. The object almost always comes first. In my studio from the previous sculptor, there were he was a Navy guy. There were huge Army parachutes in the studio. And there were 2 life jackets. So that's how I began to make the sculpture. I just immediately fell in love with metal and knew that that was my material. So very quickly I went from canvas to other kinds of cloth to fiberglass and resin, hard, to metal. And I cast in graduate school and left in 74. And I've been casting ever since.
That was the same baby doll. I kind of destroyed it, took it apart, made a new form. But I was looking at bats, so I put bat wings on it. And then I added the chauffeur horn out of a scarf of mine, dipped in wax and round. So I modeled that into this creature who I thought was kind of letting blowing the horn and kind of the messenger to tell you what you're going to be seeing.
I made a series of Madonnas. It had started with found objects. I had had a series of operations, no fun. And the last one was spine surgery. And I was laid up for quite some time. So I had a wheelchair and a porta potty. So this other equipment was just lying around, and I decided, wow, I really had vision of cutting them up welding them together and making a hybrid machine a new thing. So it was obviously about aging, but it was also about the things that my body had gone through and the things that you go through when you age and when you might need equipment like that to help you get through it. I like the fact if there are forms or symbols in my work that can have multiple meanings. So that was a good progression. If I had less confidence, and also if I wasn't as stubborn and also physically strong and emotionally together, I might not have survived through the 70s and the 80s in New York. But I was tested a lot, but I'm still tested. Things still happen, but what do? You just carry on. You have to make it. You see it, you have to make it, and nobody's going to get in your way.